Hello, and welcome back on our channel. Today, we're going to talk about something that most people misunderstand, something that's often seen as a punishment, when in reality, it's one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. We're talking about discipline, and more specifically, why discipline is the highest form of self-love. That might sound strange at first. Discipline, love, aren't they opposites? Not at all. Let's dive in and discover why the most powerful way to love yourself is to keep the promises you make to yourself. Let's start here. What is self-love? Most people think self-love means bubble baths, days off, positive affirmations, and treating yourself. And sure, those things have their place. But real self-love? The kind that builds a life you're proud of? The kind that creates strength, confidence, and peace? It comes from discipline. Because self-love isn't about doing what feels good right now, it's about doing what's right for your future. Think about it, you say you love yourself. But do you keep your word to yourself? You say you want a better life. But are your actions aligned with that life? Discipline is love in action. It's saying, I love myself enough to do the hard thing now, so I can live the good life later. It's about respecting your potential, not just your comfort. Let's be honest, it's easy to love yourself when everything is easy, but true love shows up in discipline. When you wake up early, even when you don't feel like it, when you say no to distractions, when you do the work, the reps, the uncomfortable stuff. That's not punishment, that's honoring the person you're becoming. Here's a truth most people avoid. Comfort is addictive, but comfort doesn't create greatness. You don't grow when you're comfortable, you grow when you push, when you stretch. When you choose what's difficult, because it's meaningful. And that choice is love. It's loving your future self enough to lead them there. Let me ask you something. If you had a child, would you let them eat junk food all day just because they want to? Would you let them skip school or avoid responsibility just because it's easier? No, because you love them. And love doesn't mean avoiding discomfort. It means guiding them toward what's best for them, even when they resist. So why don't we treat ourselves the same way? Why do we associate love with indulgence instead of structure, direction, and discipline? Maybe it's time to change that. Let me tell you a personal truth. There were times in my life when I told myself, I'm just being kind to myself as I skipped my goals, broke my word, slept through my purpose. But deep down, it wasn't kindness, it was fear in disguise, fear of growth, fear of challenge. Fear of becoming the version of me that I actually admired, and every time I avoided discipline, I felt worse, not better. So here's the shift. Discipline isn't about restriction, it's about liberation, it's about being free from regret, free from chaos. Free from the anxiety of not living up to your potential. When you're disciplined, you walk with confidence. You move with clarity. You sleep better at night because you kept your word. Discipline doesn't trap you, it frees you. Let's break this down into real-world actions. Here are 5 reasons why discipline equals self-love, and how you can start practicing it today. Discipline builds self-trust. Every time you say you'll do something and you follow through, you build trust with yourself, and that trust is everything. Because when you trust yourself, you stop needing validation, you stop second-guessing, you start believing in your own ability to rise, adapt, and grow. Self-love isn't just about how you talk to yourself, it's about whether or not you believe yourself. Discipline trains your mind to lead. Most people are ruled by their feelings. They wait for motivation. They wait to feel ready. But discipline trains you to act even when you don't feel like it. That's when you start leading your emotions, instead of being led by them. And that is a deep, powerful act of love, to no longer be ruled by your moods, but to be guided by your values. Discipline creates progress, and progress builds joy. Let's be real. You don't feel proud after scrolling for hours. You don't feel alive after binging distractions. But when you show up, even just a little, you feel it. Progress is emotional fuel, and discipline creates it, drop by drop. Every time you take action aligned with your higher self, you're reinforcing the message. I am becoming someone I respect, and that feeling is better than any temporary comfort. Discipline protects your energy. Without discipline, everything becomes urgent. Everything pulls at you. You react, you chase, you get scattered. But when you have discipline, you set boundaries. You say no. You protect your focus, your peace, your energy. Discipline is how you respect your life force. And what's more loving than protecting your peace? Discipline is repeatable. It becomes your identity. You're not trying to be perfect, you're just choosing a rhythm. And the more you repeat that rhythm, the more it becomes who you are. Not someone who tries to be disciplined, but someone who is disciplined. Not someone who waits for results, but someone who lives with intention. That's what self-love looks like, not in theory, but in practice. So, what does this mean for you right now? It means this. If you want to build a better life, start by keeping one promise to yourself today. Not all of them, just one. Wake up when you said you would. Journal your thoughts instead of running from them. Drink water instead of reaching for caffeine. Go for that 10-minute walk. Open the project you've been avoiding. Tiny wins, repeated, that's where discipline begins, that's where self-respect begins, and with it comes real love. Not the fluffy surface kind, but the deep, unshakable kind that says, I care about my life, I care about my future, I care about myself enough to do what's hard over and over again. That is self-love, and that is power. So if no one's told you this today, let me say it. You don't need to be perfect, you don't need to be extreme, you just need to be honest and consistent. The best way to love yourself is to choose yourself. Over and over, with discipline, with courage, with intention. Comment below, what's one small discipline you're committing to this week? Let's grow together. Subscribe if you're ready to build real self-love from the inside out, because this is what Dream Chasers 969 is all about. Until next time, choose growth, choose truth, choose